Aloha and welcome. This is Jeanne Russell, and we are here at Dolphin Touch Wellness Center in Kauai, Hawaii, where we offer many healing modalities. We heal on the physical with massage and Reiki and body work and energy work. We heal on the mental with intuitive readings, with guidance, with the modality I created called Dolphin Energetics, which is about moving through blockages in people's aura or people's field or people's consciousness to release what no longer serves. I do that on our water massage table here. I do that in the ocean on Kauai at the North Shore, and I do that long distance. And we have a retreat coming up in Mount Shasta, California, where we will be doing many modalities, many amazing things, some in the water, some on the mountain, the beautiful Mount Shasta mountain. And we'll be connecting with Matthew Bueno, who is a shaman and spiritual teacher that is out there in Mount Shasta. And that will be June 18th through the 23rd. You can check out our website at dolphintouch.org for more details and to sign up. Well, I'm very excited today because my guest today is Vinetta. Vinetta actually connected to us through Matthew in Mount Shasta. And Matthew shared with her our beautiful services in our center here on Kauai. And she was drawn to Kauai for many different reasons, which she can go into on her own. And he said, oh, if you're going to Kauai, you have to connect with Jeanne Russell and Dolphin Touch Wellness Center, which she did. And we've been connected ever since she's been here. I'm very happy to have her with us. Vinetta, thank you for joining us today.
Yay! Thank you so much, Jeannie. This has been wonderful. I know she calls herself Jeanne Russell, and I still call her Jeannie. So I'm going with that, Jeannie.
You can do whatever. Hey, you, that's fine too.
No, but thank you so much for sharing. And yes, this is an absolutely beautiful place. And I, think that there's so many beautiful services that you offer that people are able to receive and enjoy. So yeah, definitely everybody check Dolphin Touch Wellness Center out.
So tell me, why were you drawn to Kauai? You're not unique in that, I have to say. A lot of people come to me, it's like, I don't know, I just got to come to Kauai. There's something calling me. And she definitely calls her people to her. And she just sucks you in and enters into your dream world. You're dreaming about Kauai. Everywhere you go, you see messages about Hawaii and Kauai and the energy and Lemuria. And so tell me, what was the thing that drew you here?
Yeah, that's so fascinating. And you're right. This story that I share is probably not that uncommon. It's just customized to each of us. But I'm kind of backtrack a little bit. I actually came to Hawaii in 1997 with a friend of mine who was doing the marathon in Oahu. And we kind of island hopped. We used it as a way to kind of like, let's just get here and then we'll kind of do our vacation. And I remember when we came to Kauai, we basically went shopping and went straight to our resort, which happens to be Ponakai, which is actually very close to here. I remember waking up in the morning, we're just having breakfast, just looking out. Keep in mind, we have seen absolutely nothing on the island. And what pops out of my mouth is, I would love to live here. And my friend looks at me, she's like, we've not seen anything on this island. What are you talking about? I was like, I don't really know. I don't know why I said that, but I'm guessing everybody who comes here wants to live here, right? And then I didn't pay any attention to it. Literally, this was 1997. So fast forward 2020, I kind of, when the whole pandemic and all of that happened, I actually kicked into my dark night of the soul journey. And during that process, a lot of things were unfolding. And I just kept finding these different connections that were bringing me back to Kauai in terms of past lifetimes or just places that kept calling me. And it's interesting, Jeannie and I were talking before we actually even hit the record button, this background that I have, I literally found it in like 2021. And I looked at it and I said, that's where I want to go. That's Kauai to me. I have no idea. It was just an image. I was like, I need a beautiful Zoom background. Didn't think much about it. And it turns out maybe 2 years later, I actually find out it's actually in Kauai. This is actually Kauai. So kind of how Jeannie's saying, you know, different things come into your field and you're just drawn to them. You might not even know the details. You're just like, yeah, that feels right. And for me, this felt right. And every time people would ask me, I'm like, that's Kauai. They're like, oh, okay. So you know how we always say, oh yeah, you know, I want to go to that place. I'll go here. So I was feeling the draw, the call was coming, but we always get to choose, right? I was living in Chicago, having my beautiful full life, being a concierge, I had a food business. I was, you know, busy living my life, but the universe kind of brings different things your way, right? So I kept getting the call, but there wasn't a real strong push to kind of break out of where I was to come here. And so it turns out that the place that I was staying at for almost 20 years, the guy's like, well, I think we're actually going to flip the place. So unless you want to buy it, I'm going to actually have you find a new place. So that's when I was like, okay, now I'm at a choice point. What would I like to do? And I said, all right, I'm going to take a leap. I'm going to go for it and just go. And the moment I said yes to that, and I showed the universe that I was like, yep, I'm going to make this move, everything started to line up. You know, I talked to Matthew and he gave me 3 names. And 2 of them were like super important. Obviously, Jeannie, you, and the second was actually Opie. And you were literally the 2 people that I reached out to, and everything started to line up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I just literally wrapped up my life, put a bunch of, donated a ton of things, was like, okay, I'm going to take the leap of faith and come over here. And I joke, but I mean it seriously. It's like, you know, Jeannie for me is like my fairy godmother because I got here and I was like, oh, I have a place to land. And, you know, so, and as they say, the rest is history. I'm here now for almost 9+ months. And I can't believe it that it's been that many
Wow.
months.
Has it been that long? That's crazy. Yes.
So
It
very
is.
long answer to your question, but I wanted to kind of give how these little clues come into our field, right?
Yeah, no, I do believe that that's how spirit works. I mean, I do feel that you're given these choices, and spirit kind of was making a choice for you and saying, okay, your comfort space is no longer going to be available. You got to make a move, and where are you going to go? And yeah, I mean, of course, it was your choice to come here, but right, they kind of nudged you along. I kind of feel like,
Of course they
like
do.
a little push, like,
Yes.
come on, come to
And
Kauai.
it's hard, right, Jeannie? Because it's not like I'm 20 years old or 30 years old where you're like, yeah, I'll just kind of do this. I'll just do that. You know, as sometimes as you get older and you go on your journey, you kind of you're looking for that place where you feel like grounded and secure and all of that thing. But I was feeling the nudge since the pandemic, like so much shifted when I went through my dark night of the soul. I knew that my work in Chicago was done. And to just kind of stay open to like what's next. Like you said, no choice is wrong. I mean, I could have stayed in Chicago, but I just felt like everything around me was kind of almost kind of like closing out or being removed from my pathway energetically so
Right.
that I be more in choice and alignment with coming here. And it was a huge leap. I mean, to be able to do everything and say, okay, I'm just gonna get here. And honestly, I knew nobody on the island other than connecting with you and Opie and one other person I met online who I still haven't met, by the way.
Well, I think it's interesting, your dark night of the souls. I'd like to hear more about that because I do feel a lot of people are going through that or have gone through that, either through the pandemic or through just there's so much intensity right now in people's lives. Everything is kind of been shifting, like the rug pulled out from underneath us, like the things that we thought were stable and solid and for sure is now, no, it's not what you thought it was, or it's not how you thought it was going to be, or it's like this secure thing that what you thought was forever is actually disappearing and melting in front of your eyes. So it's a lot of people are going through some huge shifts. So I'd love to have you share about your dark night of the souls.
Yeah, sure. And I completely agree with you. So much is shifting, and I feel quickly like it's fast. It's feeling like it's fast and furious. Like I feel like, I had time with my journey, but I'm also feeling like a lot of people are not necessarily given too much time to like work through things. And so for me, it's almost like my soul just had decided, okay, pandemic, perfect alignment, she'll have time to work on things. So what led into it is I had a beautiful food business in Chicago, which I absolutely loved, with a business partner, and we were growing and expanding and, doing really well. We were getting onboarded onto Amazon. Like, we're like, okay, we're really scaling up. We're getting ready. So that was like 2019, beginning of 2019.
What can I interrupt? What kind of food business was it?
So it was Indian comfort food, very Ayurvedic, like,
Oh,
super clean, healthy, vegan, gluten-free. And it was basically a packaged item. So it was like a one pot meal and also curry powder. So we had like a few offerings, and it was just really beautiful for us because people really appreciated, everyone's busy. They just want simple, easy, clean things, and we found a fabulous market in Chicago, and it gave us the sort of go ahead to jump onto Amazon. So we were all excited doing all of this stuff, but unfortunately the business partnership failed. And so that was very challenging because to me, business partnerships, like, I was very open to it because we just complemented each other in so many ways. But unfortunately, like, we were having a lot of trouble communicating. And, I was like, well, let's, the same way you've got like a, someone like a therapist for like couples, they must have that for business partners.
that's
But
a great idea.
right. But she was not open to it at all. And so, anyways, what ended up happening is, we couldn't come to an agreement, and we were forced to close the business down. So for me, it was very challenging because that was the way that it all kind of unfolded. I felt very like betrayed, or like, how did this happen? And she basically just left the business. So now I was left with closing down the entire business by myself, in addition to everything else. So it was just a very traumatic experience at all levels, right? And
Yeah.
so I made sure that I took my time to take care of the business. And when I was done, I could feel in my body all the breakdown that was happening, right? I could feel the
Mm.
trauma in all different aspects. And but I was like, I need to focus on getting everything done. This business honored me, and I'm going to honor it before I close it down. So I shut it down December 2019.
Mm.
And I knew, I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? I didn't know anything about like practitioner practices. I didn't know anything. So it wasn't even like, oh, let me just go somewhere. All I knew is that my body was holding trauma, and I could feel it. I could
Mm.
feel the pain in my body. My mom lives in India, and she's like, look, this is probably the first December in years where you're not doing markets during the holiday. You need a break. Come to India. Let's go to an Ayurvedic center. Let's go get a panchakarma, which is like a detox, a full-on detox, mind, body, soul. So that's what I did. I went in end of December, and it was like a 21-day hardcore detox, cleanse, reset. And it was exactly what I needed.
Nice.
Like, physically work on my body first. And I knew when I came back to Chicago that I would then work on the different aspects, right? The other parts of me that needed healing. And
Right.
so that's what I did. I came back, and as I got situated, the pandemic happened. Now I had all this time. I was working from home. I just kind of dived in. Whatever little information I had, I just dived in and started to like work on myself.
Mm.
And So that dark night of the soul for me, I mean, it lasted, almost 1.5 years
Mm.
process, right? It's just, it'll be done in a couple of months. Maybe some people are able to do that, but for me, it was definitely a slow kind of process. But in that process, after I'd kind of dug deep into myself and worked through some of my own issues when it came to healing from everything that transpired in the food business, it took me quite a few months, but I then got to a place probably 6 months into my journey where I was like, I was really angry at my business partner. I felt all this betrayal. I felt all of these things. And now my story had suddenly shifted. I was like, oh, okay. Maybe she was a teacher. Oh my goodness. Wait, I think she was a teacher for me. Oh, this was actually a blessing. Like I could
Everybody's a
fathom,
teacher for us, I
I
believe.
could have never fathomed that I would even say something like that. Right. I
Mm.
couldn't even believe it. But that was when I knew I had done some good work on my own. And then slowly I started to find, now we're in a place where we couldn't really go out and hang out with people and chat about things. So it's, you're online, Facebook, Instagram, all of these places. And I started finding beautiful practitioners, and all of them had some sort of wisdom or guidance that kept helping me along my journey. And then that kind of inspired me to start my own podcast in October of 2022. And I felt like it was a great way for me to actually pay it forward. These beautiful people that assisted me, I knew that, like you're saying, thousands of people are going through their dark night of the soul, and I felt completely
Mm.
alone. I had no family in Chicago. There was not one person I could talk to, because they're like, what is she talking about? What is the spiritual awakening stuff that she's talking about? I don't know anything about it. So I was really completely by myself. So now I felt that now that I have tools and resources, I found these amazing people. Let me share that with others, because it could help them so they don't have to go through the same process that I do. They can go much faster because now they have access to tools and people who could actually help them on their journey, like right now. So that's what I started in October of 2022. And I've taken a little pause since I came to Kauai, but the last person that was on my podcast was Matthew.
Mm.
And he's the one obviously that connected me to you and Opie. So that's kind of been the journey of the dark night of the soul, where you really get to go inwards. And I think that's a really important thing to share, is when you're going through that, you kind of have to face yourself and face a lot of your internal things before you're going to go outside to seek external, because we're so trained, right? Oh, let me just go ask somebody, let me go help from someone. That's great, but a large part of the process is the internal work. You got to do your own stuff, as they say. I hate to say it, but like, face your own demons.
So true.
Face your own
Yeah,
demons.
too many people are looking outside themselves for blame or pointing the finger, or, it's this person, it's that person, this is all your creation. So even that person, that's all a reflection back of you, and it's kind of silly, but so it's all you, basically. And any issue that you're going through, you have to look inside for the core issue, what I like to call deep diving,
Yes.
and going into that core issue of what it is that you want to release, what you want to let go of. And it's very easy to get distracted or say it's this thing, it's that thing, in order to avoid the core issue. And we're looking at ourselves in a way that helps us understand. The more is just like in the Bible, know thyself, understand. The more you can understand who you are and what's happening. And I think for you with this food business, it also had to get to a place of forgiveness. If we don't forgive those who we feel hurt by or shamed by or betrayed by, we can't understand what that person is going through. We don't walk in their moccasins, as the Indians say. We haven't walked a mile in their moccasins to understand where they are on their path. And maybe that woman maybe she was afraid of fame. Maybe she wasn't ready for that big step. Maybe she just had other things going on. Whatever it was that was going on with her, like, you don't know. And that's when you co-create something, it's a more of a challenge in a lot of ways, because it's not just your energy field, it's the other person. But if you, like you were right, if you had gone to counseling, if you had some support, you both could have moved through it together. But that
Yes.
takes trust too. So a lot going on there, but yeah.
And I agree. And and I think it's so interesting how you were saying this, because it's the universe orchestrating with you. Right? I mean, if people understand, like, it's our higher self who said, okay, this is the experience you've chosen. This is how it's going to unfold. So she had to say no to the counseling, right? Because that would mean that the business would actually potentially keep going. And the universe is already basically getting me ready so that I could actually shift gears into doing my inner work, right? So in some sense it's perfect alignment. And I think it's challenging only because we would joke, we would spend so much time together. I mean, she was literally like my work wife, right? Like, that's what it felt like. I mean, we were around each other almost 24/7. And anybody who's been in the food business knows that there's really no day off. There's just so much going on when you're a small micro business. So I think it was just kind of to untangle from all of that. Like, our universes were so meshed together, that whole process of kind of breaking and loosening all of those things, and then being able to go inwards and then get to a place where it's like, wow, I orchestrated this for a reason. Like, she said yes to play this part in my life so that I could actually do what I'm doing now. Like, if all of that had not happened, I would be sitting here right now, GD, having this
Right.
conversation with
You'd
you.
still be in Chicago.
I would be in a whole different path, and nothing is wrong with that. It would just be another pathway. But I'm thrilled to have this pathway. And yes, it was challenging, but when people ask you that question, do you regret anything? Do you wish you could go back and change that? Would you have said no to her if she had said, let's do a business? I'm like, absolutely not. I would repeat every single thing exactly the way that it happened, because it brought me to where I am today.
Oh, everything does. Everything is divinely orchestrated, and everything is guiding you along your spiritual path. And obviously you needed to grow in this way to get to this next level. And it's all good, and too many of us are stuck in the past and stuck in this blame and shame game, or putting the finger or pointing fingers at other people. It's like, it is what it is. Like you said, it was all part of your divine plan to grow and to expand. And now you're here in Kauai.
Yes.
And tell me what you have learned since you've been here.
Oh my goodness. I remember, like, just the excitement of being able to come here and how quickly they all were lining up. So it was just my confirmation that, get here. Now, I'll be honest, coming from Chicago, which I love Chicago, but it is a pretty dense place. And I was living in the heart of downtown. So I was like in the center of all the action. So I knew energetically that Kauai is going to be very different. So I basically was like working 2 weeks before coming here to just kind of start to ground my energies here, so that when I came, my body would be able to receive all the beautiful energies and frequencies. I remember, the day I landed, Opie came to pick me up, and she's like, where do you want to go? I said, farmer's market. So she takes me to the farmer's market, we grab all our produce, and then we came over and we saw you were getting ready to leave. And I remember dropping off my stuff and going to the beach and just kind of connecting with the ocean and the air and just all the elements. And I just felt held. Like, I don't even know any other way to explain it. And I was like, wow, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be in this now moment.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I didn't have any plan, right? I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to come here, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I was very open. I was trying to just be in flow and say, you know what? I'm open. Mama Kauai, you brought me here. Obviously, you have your plans for me. So I'm just going to stay open and be in flow. And, so much has unfolded. And most of that is because I'm just really practicing not only being in flow and surrendering to the process, but honestly, like what I tell myself every day, I'm just chasing my highest joy and excitement, whatever that is.
Yeah.
It's a defined thing. I mean, and I'm a Gemini, so I love to learn. I love to do. I have a lot of gifts. So I just like to like explore all the different opportunities. And that seems to be what's good for me here. So I've just been kind of flowing and getting to meet incredible people. And a lot of that also has to do, Jeannie, with Dolphin Touch, because you're connected to so many beautiful people. You do so many different types of events and gatherings. And, it's allowed me to also expand and get to know so many beautiful people in not a very long period of time. I feel like, I've been able to almost kind of build my own little community here, which has been so amazing because, like I said, when I came here, I didn't really know anybody other than you and Opie. So now to feel that energy of, yes, there's support, not just from the island, but like actual people, and being able to plant my roots and, find different things that bring me joy. Like, you know, I volunteer at a food pantry close by. It's just one of my like just I love doing it. It's just so wonderful. And Jeannie has allowed me to create with her some beautiful wellness fairs.
Mm-hmm.
It's really amazing. So I
Done
just open.
amazing.
Yeah, and it's just I'm just allowing myself to be in that flow and just do all the things that bring me joy. And I don't
You
have a
come
bunch of labels
quiet.
attached to. I was like, I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, I'm an experiencer. I'm an experiencer. I just love to experience and grow and expand. And you know, I know I'm doing a lot of different work energetically at a soul level. I can feel it. But I also don't attach to anything too tightly because I know tomorrow something new. Like right now, I'm getting ready to go on a whole new adventure, going to a whole different part of the island. And because I'm being called there and I have a sense of what that work is, I'm not going to share it today, but I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Is that what you want me to work on? Okay, I'm going to go for it, and just staying open to what that's going to bring.
Yeah, I think that's what you have a really good attitude. And that's the way to be. You have to have a good attitude. You have to be open. You have to be uh a, go with the flow, like the dolphins moving through the water, jumping here, jumping there, and seeing where the tide takes you.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite subjects is Lemuria. And I'd love to share your information and your guidance about what you feel about Lemuria. Lemuria, in case you don't know, is one of the ancient civilizations that existed before Atlantis. And we are on Lemuria here on Kauai. Kauai is the oldest of the Hawaiian island chain and the oldest and strongest connection to Lemuria, in my opinion. And so we talked a little bit about it. So maybe you can share your version of what you get about Kauai and Lemuria.
Yeah, I love that, Jeannie. It's for me, it's like synonymous. Like when I think Kauai, I like Lemuria. Lemuria rising is what comes to me. I'm getting goosebumps even as I say that.
Mhm.
And I knew as I was going through my own discovery journey of like, all of us sort of once you get on the spiritual path, there is an element of like who am I? Like what are my origins? Like where did I come from? Or what is the strongest pull in this lifetime, because most of us on this journey know we've had many lifetimes, most of us, not everybody. And for me, I feel like I've had many lifetimes in Hawaii, but Kauai specifically. And that's very much connected to my Lemurian aspect. And I will share that I did a beyond quantum hypnosis session, which, is kind of a little bit of a spin on a Dolores Cannon QHHT session, which is still also in the same vein. And I remember doing that because I wanted a confirmation. I was just getting all this, as we call it, our senses, right? We have all these beautiful senses. I had a knowing, but I didn't have any evidence, right? I was like, I know I'm from Lemuria. I can feel it. Like I could feel such a strong pull to that ancestry, to that lineage of people who were part of these islands, specifically Kauai. And when I did the session and I listened back to it, I was like blown away because it was Kauai. I even said in there, I said, oh, I'm looking around, but I'm talking about some of the kind of like beings, I'm going to say beings that came when it was almost like humans weren't necessarily even like walking around at that time, right? I remember that origin, like being in a
beings.
yeah, but it was interesting because I almost felt very like, I don't know how to describe it, like a dolphin but with like legs, like I could actually walk on the land but I could also live in water, like I could do both.
Mhm.
And then the whole part of the experiment was like, okay, if we want to live here, we're going to have to adapt our bodies. Our bodies are going to have to change. We can't just be these sea creatures. We can't just be like we came from Sirius, but it's like, okay, how are we going to live here? And I remember being part of that process where we could still shape shift. And it was Kauai for me, and I saw all of these people come, and we were all part of that grouping that was here to get all of that going. And my recollection was it was very heart centered. Everything was heart centered. There was so much love and togetherness. And actually I felt a lot of very feminine energy, very strong feminine energy connected with that lineage.
Mhm.
That's just a little bit. I just kind of wanted to share. So I knew that that was part of my confirmation of, in addition to, of course, when you're in the beginning and you're kind of learning things, you allow people to give you readings, share things, and it kept bringing in again, oh, you have a very strong Lemurian connection. Oh, you have a Lemurian connection. I said, okay, I'm hearing it externally, but what's coming from within? What's coming from my soul? What's coming from my inner knowing? And doing my own session and allowing me to bring the information through allowed me to kind of just tie it together. So now when I'm sitting in Kauai, you and I talked about this a little bit. It's like, I call it rising because, like you said, so many of us are being called to the island, like you and others who've been already doing the work. You're here, you've been here, and then there's this whole flood of people coming in, very, very sort of like specific, you got to come to Kauai. So as far as I'm concerned, Lemuria is now kind of really coming together with all of these people that are coming back home. Like that's how I think of it. It's like we're coming back home and we're creating this beautiful, amazing kind of new earth experience, like the place where all of us want to live, where it is heart centered, and we're just raising the vibration more and more of this island along with Mama Kauai.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what Lemuria is for me. It's going back and connecting with that ancient knowledge and the way we were. And even, when you see some of the harshness or the cruelty or whatever of other people, it's like, why are you being that way? I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. Like, how could you live that way? Because we're all connected. We're all, you hurt somebody else, you're hurting yourself, you know? And that energy of community. So COVID was really hard for a lot of people, really hard, because that lack of community and interaction and then connection with one another is so vital. And I have the Breakfast Club, We do it once a month, and it's just women, and we get together and we share breakfast and we talk story and just do whatever we do when we get together, because we're feeling that connection to one another. And there's so many synchronicities that happen, like somebody's looking for a place to live and they find a place to live, or somebody needs something else and they're like, oh, I have the extra one, or whatever. It's like, that's how we lived back then. That's, to me, how Lemuria was. There wasn't this competition or this competitiveness or this cutthroat atmosphere. It was a community atmosphere. It was like the dolphins, where we support and help one another, and together we rise, is
Yeah.
the message. And you really embody that too, with what you do and how you do it. And I'm really thankful for your connection here to Dolphin Touch and what you've done with the wellness fair, organizing it, and helping to share some great practitioners on the island with many other people. And I know it's going to grow in some way and it'll unfold as it should, but that beautiful offering and the way you are so good at working with people in that capacity. So Bea, I'm so grateful to have you and to have you here on the island and part of Dolphin Touch, and everything that all the light that you bring. And I'm not surprised that you were one of the ones that were drawn to Kauai, because it's people like you that make this place a beautiful place to live and a beautiful place to be. And sharing and connecting, and your openness and your positive attitude just adds to the atmosphere of what we're all creating here. So thank you for showing up here on Kauai and Dolphin Touch and being with us. And can you tell people how they can get in touch with you? Your
Yes. Well, thank
contact
you so
info
much. Thank you,
and your
Jeannie. That's
podcast,
so
the
kind
name
of
of it.
you. Well, thank you. I receive, and I'm so grateful to you, as I said, because without you, I wouldn't have a place to land, and to be able to build this beautiful community that I've had the opportunity to connect with. And you're right, for me, community is so important, and for all of us to create more community and to bring back some of the ways, like you said, the as they say, the old ways, but with a twist, right? It's like still grounded into what's going on now. So in terms of finding me, you can find me at Elevate with the V, and that's my website. That'll also connect you with my podcast, which I have about probably 60 episodes, and I believe in content time, so all of them are beautiful and have wonderful information. So definitely tune into that. And I'm also opening up to what I call empowerment coaching. And it's really to help you maximize and optimize all the different areas of your life, and to just really empower you. I truly believe we all have the answers within us. So I'm just helping you find your own answers and kind of guiding you along the path so you can too live your best life and make the leaps like I did. So it's from experience, and I want to share that with everybody. So thank you, Jeannie.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, if you want to know more about us, we're at dolphintouch.org. We are on Instagram and we are on Facebook. And we are so blessed to have people coming through the center. If you're drawn to Kauai or you want to experience it, contact me and we will connect you what we call the soft landing on Kauai. That's what we're here for, the soft landing, to bring you to this space and this sacred area, and to help you along your spiritual path as well. Well, thank you, everyone. Hui ho, and hope you have an amazing, amazing day. Aloha.
Aloha.